Good morning. Oh, are we live? We are live. Okay, so good morning. Caleb and Jodi Moore here. We are sitting in Caleb's. Oh, we're not live. Oh my gosh, hold on. There we go. We're sitting in Caleb's office right now. Just wanted to come to you for a brief moment. We've had a lot of questions asked specifically about where we're headed. So, fun fact for you Googlers out there, Google came out with the most asked question in real estate, and that was, are we headed for a housing crash? And this was just like recent. This was just as of like July. The most asked question on Google for housing. Are we headed for a housing crash? And so I have my faithful assistant here to go through the details of why we may or may not be going to housing crash. I just think that's kind of something that maybe all of you are interested to know as well. So we have some numbers here for you, and we're just going to dive into it for a moment.
So the assistant will talk now. In order to kind of see where we're going, we kind of have to see where we've been. And Jodi and I have talked to y'all before about why the last 2 years has been as good as it has. We've seen a migration from out west, California, Texas, Washington, even Michigan, where they have come in droves. They've sold out west, and they have bought in cheaper prices in Arkansas or Oklahoma or the mid-South. And so we have seen the increase in prices in that time, 40% increase in sales over the last 2 years. Okay? And if you go back, you'll look at this. We've told you before, hey, that's grossly unhealthy for the market to go up 40% in 2 years. So the correction was always coming. We just didn't know when it was going to come.
Mm-hmm.
So now that we've seen a slowdown, mainly because of inflation, but also because we've had gas prices that have gone up, we've had airline tickets that have gone up, we've had grocery prices that have gone up. So the value of the dollar has gone down, and what has happened is the feds, or the people that deal with the interest rates, the 10-year treasury notes, they have, in order to correct the inflation, has gone up on interest rates. And so interest rates back the last 2 years, we've been in the 3%. Mm-hmm. Sometimes if you wanted a 15-year note, you were in the 2%. I mean, that's basically free money. However nice that has been for us, mm-hmm. that is not a healthy market. So they've had to go up on interest rates. Back in May, they went up. In June, they went up. Mm-hmm. We were up in the 7% range almost. Mm-hmm. And then in the last month, the last actually just couple weeks, the feds have actually gone down on the interest rate with expectations that maybe we'll get back into the 4% range.
Yeah.
So we're
fives in the average.
Yeah, right now we're in the fives, mm-hmm. And which is fine. Remember when we got into business?
Yeah, Caleb and I.
We were in the sixes.
That was at 5, 6, and I think our first interest rate on our house was 6%. And at the time, that was actually decent.
Yeah, so, that was fine.
But I know all of you, maybe who've been here longer, remember like 17%.
Yeah.
Some people do.
So, yeah, if you're my dad, you remember the Jimmy Carter days where it's like 18, 19% interest. So
I think I'd quit.
Yeah, so inflation over the last year has been running at its highest levels in 4 decades. So you think about how inflation is hurting the housing market. People out west, and in the Google thing that Jodi mentioned earlier, is that you see this...
Old faithful Google.
Yeah, you see this uncertainty in the market right now about where we're heading because inflation is so high, because there's uncertainty in the market. What happens when people are uncertain about things?
They do nothing.
They do nothing.
And they stand still, and they stand stagnant, and they just watch, and they wait, and they hold their money because they don't know what's wise. They don't know how to spend it at the moment.
Right. And the counter to that is the job market has actually been good. So pre-COVID, we had job numbers just tank, and people were laying off left and right. But since that time, we now have, 528 new net payroll additions, which gets us back to full capacity to where we were pre-COVID. So
say that again.
So we are now back, as of August, back to pre-pandemic levels for jobs. Okay, everybody's been hurting for jobs. Everybody's been needing employees and still do. There's still help wanted signs everywhere, but we're back to where we were pre-pandemic. And so what that's done is that it's created a uh, yes, we are going into a recession, or maybe we are currently, but it's not as bad as what it was in 2007. So,
Because people
yeah,
have, if they have a job, that equals money, right? So if people have money to spend and to live, then they can buy homes, they can buy cars, and so they're ultimately potentially won't be a housing crash because the jobs are supporting the market right now.
yeah. So if people are thinking, hey, are we heading back to 2007, 2008, where it was a crash?
I don't think so.
I don't think we're heading back to a crash. We are heading to a correction, which was inevitable and honestly needed for a healthy market. Again, 40% in 2 years increase is not healthy. But where we're going to is a place to where we feel like buyers can actually get into markets without competing
Right.
with 12 other people for the same property.
Right. So, like, if you're a buyer on the other side of this camera right now, and you're like, well, how does this all help me? Economics are great. It's over my head. I don't understand. You as a buyer can go into the fall market, real estate market, and expect to potentially find a home and make an offer and win. And that's not been the case for nationwide for the last 2 to 3 years. So that's not everywhere. That's not all markets. I'm kind of speaking generally. Remember, Moore Company has 5 office locations, and we're located primarily here in Polk County in Russellville. And that's a lot of what you'll see probably in the smaller rural areas. But Faulkner County, and then of course Northwest Arkansas is still experiencing quite a bit of multiple offer situation, but maybe I'm talking it went from 10 off multiple offers to maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5. So less competition for buyers just means that you're not going to overpay drastically for a home, and that you might actually get to win in the bidding situation.
Yeah.
So if you're a seller sitting on the other side of this and you're looking to sell your home this fall, I think the difference would be is that you're going to just prepare yourself for a little bit more time on the market potentially. And I'm only talking maybe a week to a couple weeks, not 90 days like it was a few years ago. And also, I don't think you're going to get a 2021 price. So if you call Caleb and
That's
I,
right.
I love to shoot for the moon, or shoot for the stars, go for it. But it's just going to inevitably be more time on the market for you, and therefore hurting your value. And so an appropriate price would be just under probably where we were this time last year in value.
And remember that what buyers look at, if you're on the market for extended period of time,
plus
they are using that as a negotiating tool against you.
Right.
So yes, we want to shoot for the moon, like Jodi said. We want to get you the prices that you want, but ultimately, if you're too long on the market, you're going to take a bigger hit than if you were just at market value when you start there. So we're not at 2020, we're not at 2021 prices, or even January, February of 2022. We are now in a new shifting market where we are going to experience new things. So new prices,
new days on the market,
and new appraisal guidelines as well.
Guidelines.
These are all things that have been changing in the last 6 months. So we're trying to catch you up on, hey, this is where we're at, this is where we're going. It's not necessarily a crash. We're not going to experience the foreclosures or short sales like we had previously, because people have been able to sell out. Instead of foreclosing, they had enough equity in there. They just sold their house instead of foreclosing.
Right.
So that's another thing that we're not going to experience. Subprime loans were the reason 2007 were so bad.
Right.
This market's different. Jobs are high. We're still good. Inflation is high, but maybe we're seeing a decrease in some of the inflationary causes, because as of today, gas prices have come down. Grocery prices are still high, but they're stabilized. And then we're starting to see a decrease in interest rates a little bit as well.
With an increase in jobs, which again means more money and just a stability there for families. So any one of our agents here at Moore & Company of these 5 offices, guys, we're trained in this every day for what we do. We follow the market trends and we follow what prices are in our local market. So we'd be happy to work with you or visit with you. There's no pressure to just give us a call, or you can message us on Facebook and we can connect you with one of the agents here. But we're happy to help and maybe get you value for maybe what your home is now, even if you're looking at refinancing or sellability in the next maybe 6 months to a year. So thanks for your time. Glad you could join us today. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out, okay? Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.